welcome back to another episode of the Stogie video review. And well, it's my first official week back from Vegas where I'm actually going to do a video review. Last week I came home and probably due to lack of sleep, a lot of booze, and just not eating very well in Vegas, I ended up getting a pretty nasty cold. I really couldn't taste anything. I felt lousy, so I took the week off. Well, I was planning on taking the week off anyway, but getting a cold really sealed the deal. And from what I understand, there were a couple other guys that were in Vegas that got colds as well. So it was something that went around apparently. I'm back, and the first cigar from the trip is actually the Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo #1. Now this cigar was given. Actually, this particular cigar was given at the show. I was given 2 more before the show to review, and it was one of the cigars that I've been meaning to get to, and now that I have some time, I want to actually get to the show, or get to the cigar. Now, I have a bunch of show cigars to do, and unfortunately, I only have one of several of them. So what I'm going to do, as I had mentioned in a previous video, is I'm going to do these sort of first impression style videos where I'm just going to smoke the one cigar and take it for what you want, or just take it however you like. If the cigar ends up being horrible and it's a really bad review, you can chalk it up to me getting the bad one. Same thing goes if it's the exception and it's fantastic. Because I only have one cigar, let's see how the first impression goes, and then we'll go from there. You know, maybe we'll revisit it later on. But for the time being, I'm going to do the Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo #1. This is a Corona size. These have a sun-grown Corojo wrapper from Nicaragua, and binder and filler is also from Nicaragua. Now, the special thing about the binder and filler is that they are tobaccos that are grown exclusively for this particular cigar by Nestor Plasencia. From what I understand, Jesus Fuego and the Plasencias are very close, and these are tobaccos that have come a long way, and they're, you know, they have their purpose, which is solely the cigar and nothing else. Now, if you don't remember seeing the Delirium review, I mentioned that Jesus Fuego is fairly new to the cigar scene in terms of having his name on a band. Now, he started doing his own cigars in December of 2006, and he's gotten quite a name for himself, especially in the cigar forums. People are really drawn to his cigars as of late. Now, some of the cigars you may recognize that he's actually blended include the Helix, Don Tomas, Defiance, and several other cigars. Some include some of Rocky Patel's blends. Now, as I mentioned, this has a sun-grown Corojo wrapper from Nicaragua, a Nicaraguan binder and filler, and they come packaged in boxes of 20 cigars. They're available in 5 sizes, which include a Corona, a Robusto, Bellicoso, Elegante, and a Grande. And they range from about $7 a piece up to about $10 a piece, this being $7. So they are a little pricey, but let's see if you get what you pay for. Just looking over the cigar, it looks very nice, well constructed, very smooth wrapper, small veins. There's really no protrusions. It's got sort of a soft, almost a supple kind of feel to it, and one small soft spot right in the middle below this, that secondary band. And it's just that one single soft spot. Everything else feels pretty good. And as I was talking, I cut the cigar earlier. Charles got some resistance to it. It's got a nice sort of a sweetness to it. So everything's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cigar lit and get rolling on the first third. So I'll catch you in a few minutes. Well, welcome back, and as you can see, I'm plugging right along. The J Fuego Corona is actually pretty short, and I'm kind of surprised at how far along I am already. It's only been about, well, it's only been about 30 minutes now, but I'm practically all the way through the first third, and so far everything's been pretty nice. Initially, I got the cigar lit, you know, no burn problems up front, got a nice even light, a good supply of smoke. The body starts off in the medium range, and it has this nice crisp finish to it, and it's especially crisp when it goes through the sinuses. And I say crisp because it leaves me with this sort of clean and refreshed sort of feel, where I'm rip roar and ready to take the next puff, you know, practically after I blow the smoke out of my mouth. And the flavor up front is very dominant. It's a Corojo flavor. It's unmistakable. It's very dominant. It's very flavorful. It's very easy to pick up. After you get, I don't know, about a half an inch into the cigar, not even that much maybe, the cigar begins to settle out a little bit. The body remains medium. The nice crisp finish stays there, and the Corojo flavor settles down just a little bit. It's still very apparent, and I like that flavor very much. So I'm happy with where it's at, and I'm beginning to pick up a nice spicy flavor, especially when it goes through the sinuses. I get this nice sort of crisp feel, and then the spiciness comes on, and it's a very interesting dynamic that goes on, and I'm enjoying it very much. The burn line of the cigar is thin and even. Resting smoke is light. The draw's got a little bit of resistance to it, but I'm still getting lots of smoke with every puff. And the smoke that I am getting is very dense, easy to get through the sinuses, kind of lingers around the room, you know, that real thick cloud of smoke that I don't know, I like sort of letting my head hang in the cigar shops, just and taking in the aroma. It's got a very pleasant aroma to it as well. So all in all, I mean, there's nothing bad to say about the cigar at this point. Everything's top notch. And as I'm sure this clip is very short at this point, let's just sort of get into a little bit of meaningless banter. The cigar that I have here, the Corona, I was actually given to by Jesus Fuego in Vegas. It was the first time I had met Jesus, and I met him when we were all together in a group, and I'm sure you heard this story previously. But we got to talking. You know, we introduced ourselves. It was me, Brian, Jerry, Jesse, Jesse's wife, and Brian's wife. We were all just hanging around, and I recognized Humberto. I went over and talked to Humberto for a few minutes. He introduced me to Jesus, who was with a customer. As soon as he finished with the customer, he came right over to us and just dove right into the conversation. He was a very personable guy, and it was just, you know, fun to talk to him. He had a lot of enthusiasm about him. He was very proud of his product, and he wanted all of us to try his product. And he bent down and was digging around under the table, and he gave all of us a Delirium, and he gave all of us a 777, which is a new one, and we also all got the Gran Reserva Corojo #1. And when he gave it to us, he said that, you know, I only brought a couple of boxes of these. These are the cigars that we are smoking. You know, these are the original batch. These are, you know, 2 years old and been sitting in boxes. And you know, I thought that was fantastic that he was nice enough to do that. Now, I really wouldn't generally smoke a 2-year-old cigar for a review, but the other one that I have, I can't find it. I know it's in the cooler somewhere. It's buried. I know what cigars it is with. It's with some Spanish Galleons, some easy cigars. There's all the cigars that Humberto represents were in that bag together. So I just need to find that bag. It's in one of my 4 coolers, and as soon as I track it down, I'll know immediately which bag it is. It's pretty apparent. But I really wanted to smoke the other cigar. It was larger and it was fresher. So it would have been more realistic to smoke that cigar because it would be closer to what you're going to get if you pick it up off the shelf. But this is the one I could find, and actually it worked out good because the time frame's not so great tonight. But you know, I'm very happy with the cigar. It's a lot of times when you smoke a cigar that's got some age on it, it sort of mellows out, and this really doesn't seem, you know, mellowed out. And what I mean by mellowed out is sometimes they seem like they lose some flavor. One example is what are they? The Central Panza Double Maduros. I had the first box of cigars I ever purchased from JR Cigars was the Central Panza Double Maduro, or the Extra Fuertes. And I had one a couple months ago, and really it tasted flat. From sitting for a couple of years in the box, it really lost the punch that made it the Extra Fuerte. So it was kind of a letdown to smoke that cigar and think, wow, you know, it really lost a lot in terms of flavor. I mean, it's nice and smooth, but you know, it lost its appeal that I had for it initially. This cigar is just very nice. I mean, I don't know if it's... I've had the others, and you know, this, from memory, it seems just as flavorful as the others. So, you know, I really don't see it having lost anything. But then again, I'm not smoking them side by side. But at any rate, I've smoked a couple of these, and I'm really enjoying them. So anyway, with that said, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be back. We'll do the second, third. I've got some more banter to talk about the videos. Got a question I want to ask. Maybe I'll hold that off till the last segment so you remember to answer it. But at any rate, I'm going to take a quick break, take a look at some pictures, listen to a little music courtesy of the PodSafe Music Network, and I'll be right back. Well, welcome back, and as you can see, I had to remove the other band, and the cigar's getting pretty short. It was only 4.5 inches to begin with, so it really threw my timing off. You know, what feels like the second third may actually look like the final third, but because of the proportions of the cigar, I'm going to call this the second third, and I'm just about through it. Just like the first third, I'm still enjoying the cigar. The body picks up ever so slightly, but it's still firmly planted in that medium spectrum. Now, the finish is very much like the first third, where it's got this crisp, sort of fresh feeling on the palate, and it's very nice. When the smoke has passed through my sinuses, I'm getting a little bit more of a spice now than I was before. It's sort of a heavy spice. I like it, but it may be a little bit much for a lot of people. I really tend to like those spicy punches, especially through the sinuses. And off and on, I'm getting this very interesting, like a sort of a red wine flavor. It just kind of comes and goes off and on, totally random, stays for a puff or two, and then quickly fades. And I find that to be very interesting. I think it adds a lot of character and depth to the cigar. And the primary flavor is still this very rich Corojo flavor that I really get a kick out of. And I seem to get on these phases, and the Corojo tobacco phase has lasted the longest by far. Remember, there was a point in time when I just didn't like any form of Connecticut tobacco. It wasn't for me, it wasn't appealing, and eventually I ended up liking it, and I smoke quite a bit, or I smoke my fair share of Connecticut's now. I went through a phase where I loved Cameroon wrappers. I couldn't get enough of them. I smoked them constantly. And now I still like them, but I smoke them much less than I did before. And you know, same for like a sun-grown Habano wrapper. I still love the wrapper, but I don't smoke a lot of those cigars much anymore. I mean, the only two that I smoke on a fairly regular basis are the Nub Habano and the Oliva Serie V. The rest I sort of shy away from. But you know, the like I said, the Corojo flavor, the Corojo wrapper is one that I've been on for the longest point in time. You know, I smoked a lot of Camachos for quite a while. I just love that Corojo flavor and several other cigars, and it faded a little bit, and now it's back in full swing again. Love the top shelf cigars, especially the Black Label. It's got these very nice Corojo flavors. This J Fuego Gran Reserva's got very nice Corojo flavors. I still smoke a ton of the Camacho Corojos and whatnot. So this cigar is really up my alley as far as the flavor profile goes, and I'm really enjoying it. The ash is light in color. The little bit of flaking I had earlier has disappeared. It's solid. It's firm. It's compacted now. The resting smoke is still light. The draw has still got a little bit of resistance to it, but again, every puff just gives you this thick mouthful of smoke. It's very dense, easy to get through the sinuses. It just kind of lingers in the room. It's got a nice room aroma to it. It's you know, all in all, I'm really enjoying it. And not to sound like a broken record, but it's a good cigar. Before I get out of here, I wanted to make mention of the video I did with Christian from Camacho at Cigars International last week. And the consensus seems that you enjoyed that format of video. I'm going to keep doing them as long as Cigars International allows me to do it. And the audio doesn't sound any different from the norm because I'm not using the microphone. Unfortunately, the shotgun mic that I bought has like a mono output or something. Sound only comes through the left channel. And what I wanted to know from you guys is, did you find that annoying in that Camacho video? It's a ton of work to go back and extract the audio and balance it out and then reinsert it and try to make everything sync up. It's doable, but it's very time consuming. And I kind of want to gauge what your feelings were. Did you find it annoying? I did initially. I thought I had a blown right speaker or something on the laptop. You know, I was only hearing it out of the one side, and you know, I put my ear against the other speaker, and I could hear some sound. That, of course, it was coming through the case. But when I used the balancer to check the right channel, sure enough, no sound at all. So I guess I don't know whether it's the nature of the beast or what, but the shotgun mic only picks up left audio or left speaker for whatever reason. So if you don't mind only hearing in the left speaker, I'm going to keep doing that as long as I don't have the time to balance it out, which hopefully I will. It's just a handful of work. Anyway, the setup I'm using was a bit of a challenge because I mentioned at the trade show or after the trade show, was that I didn't want to be carrying around this 20-foot microphone cord, and that was the big drawback and why I didn't end up buying a mic. Now, the camera that I'm using is a Canon ZR500. It's an entry-level camcorder, DV camcorder, and it has a microphone port, but it doesn't have a hot shoe adapter up top. So this part of the microphone that clips into the camcorder, it couldn't because there's not one there. So I started thinking, well, what could I possibly do? And a while back, I used to do a lot of photography with film SLRs, and at one point in time I bought one of these, which is a flash holder. It's supposed to reduce red eye. You can bounce the flash up and down and whatnot. But there really wasn't a way for me to mount the camcorder and the tripod mount at the same time, so it was kind of frustrating. What I did end up finding after quite a bit of searching, and big thanks to the guys on Twitter, was this adapter, which basically the thumb screw has a threaded insert in it, so I can mount this in between the tripod and the camera. And of course, the microphone just clamps down, and camcorder's here and whatnot. So, not that you really care, but that's the new setup, and that's what I'm taking on the road with me. Because of because it's not totally balanced, I'm not using it for the regular reviews. You don't need long range sound anyway. So at any rate, I'm going to be doing more of those CI reviews as long as Cigars International allows me to do it. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to take another break, take a look at some more pictures, listen to a little more music from PodSafe Music Network, and I'll be back. We'll do the final third, and I'll let you get on your way.
There they are with the phony looks.
down to the nub of my my Fuego Gran Reserva #1 Corojo, and you know, I've been really enjoying it. Believe it or not, I am at about an hour and 40 minutes out of a 4.5-inch cigar. You know, can't preface this enough, but I'm a slow smoker, so it's not terribly uncommon for me to get that much time out of a short cigar. But in the final third, I found myself picking up a body that was moving more towards the full range. Now, it never really entered the full range. It's sort of like the high end to medium to full. But there's a steady progression, and it's very slow throughout the entire cigar, where it kind of hits this plateau, and it's nice medium to full. The finish is crisp. It leaves you with a bit of a clean feel on the palate, but it's beginning to get a little aggressive. And by that I mean I'm getting like a slight tingling sensation on the palate, a little bit on the tongue. It's beginning to get a little warm, but the finish is slowly slowly getting a little aggressive. The primary flavor is still this rich Corojo tobacco flavor that I really can't say enough about. I'm really enjoying it. And just like before, there's this off and on sort of a red wine flavor that I really think adds a lot of character to the cigar. It's not something that I pick up very often, and it's a nice pleasant change that comes on for a puff or two and then quickly fades, and then just kind of randomly pops up again, and it's a nice refresher. Just like in the second third, when I pass the smoke through my sinuses, I'm getting a nice heavy spice flavor and aroma, and it's coming through even more now. You know, the shorter the cigar gets, the more it's intensifying. The burning characteristics of the cigar have been very nice. The ash is nice and light in color. It's firm, compacted. I've got no flaking going on. I haven't dropped a single bit on my keyboard, which is fantastic. The resting smoke is light. The burn time is very nice. I mean, I'm not sure that you're going to get an hour and 40 minutes out of your 4.5-inch cigar, but it's been very good to me. As it's getting short, it's getting a little warm. It doesn't have a mushy feel, which leads me to believe that it's got a very good fill to it without being overfilled. Sometimes when the cigar gets this short and it begins to get warm, it gets sort of mushy, and it's really easy to press on it and just squash it. But you know, the cigar stays firm. It feels good. It feels like top quality construction. Now, I've got a little bit of a glue spot on the back of the cigar from where the band was applied, but it came off fairly easily. There was no damage to the cigar, just a small white spot. Overall, I really enjoyed the cigar. I mean, we're looking at something that's certainly not in my everyday comfort zone, and if you've watched the videos before, you know that it's $5. I think if this cigar were, you know, $5.50, I would definitely pick them up more often. But at $7, I really need to be in the mood to sort of treat myself, if you will. So I'm definitely going to be smoking more, but $7 is a tough pill to swallow. At least for me, with my comfort zone, it's not exactly budget friendly, but it is a very good cigar. Now, I think that you know, every cigar that I've had from the Fuego line has been very good. I really enjoyed the Defiance. I thought that the Delirium was very good, and this is another one that chalks up in the win column as far as I'm concerned. I really enjoyed it, and if you're someone that likes those heavy, rich Corojo flavors, I think you'll enjoy this cigar as well. But again, at a price tag of $7, it's a bit tough for me to spend it. just because I've got this fixed mindset on $5 at the cigar shop. So seeing these for $7 would be a bit tough. But I certainly would recommend picking them up if you had the chance. Pick up one or two. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Really, that's it for this review. As far as next week goes, I'm really not sure what I'm going to be smoking. I might start getting hot and heavy into the IPCPR cigars. I know that they're not all of them are available yet, but I think it might be a good sort of preface on where to look at these new cigars. And I've got a handful of cigars that I've never heard of before, which seem very interesting at the show, and I got some pictures of the booth and whatnot. So maybe I'll throw them together in sort of like a production thing, and we'll do that first impression sort of review and see how it goes. I mean, I know Jerry mentioned that he didn't really want to smoke the cigars that he got at the show because he was afraid that they weren't going to be what they would be when they were finally released, and I think that is definitely something to be concerned about. I mean, if you listen to the Camacho recording that I did, you heard Christian say that you know, cigars don't make good travel companions. So, you know, the flight out to Vegas with the cigars may have sort of deteriorated them a little bit, although I'm certainly not getting that impression from this cigar. And then I'm flying them back. Now, some of the cigars were, best way to put it would be a little crisp. You know, the cap was just starting to dry out a little bit, and I'm guessing that's from, you know, the extreme low humidity on the plane. All these cigars, I didn't have a travel humidor or anything to put them in. They were in Ziploc bags, but you know, those things aren't a perfect seal. So now that they've had a chance to acclimate a little bit, they should be a little bit better. But that's the game plan to start on the IPCPR cigars. And which one I'm going to be starting with is probably whichever one I reach in and pull out. Just going to reach in and grab a cigar, and that's the one I'm going to be going with. So hope you enjoyed the review. It felt a little rusty throughout the entire recording. The video itself wasn't the tough part. It was managing the video and my notes at the same time was something that I hadn't had to do for 2 weeks. So it felt a little rusty. But in any case, I'm starting to feel comfortable once again with the notes and whatnot. So hopefully next week everything will be back to normal, and you know, we'll be back on schedule. So until next week, happy smoking.